Hi there, and welcome to Draw With Me. I am Danny Gregory, and it's nice to have you here. See a lot of new and familiar faces. A couple of folks from the Netherlands, Manon and Eveline, welcome. Heidi from the Pacific Northwest, and Kelly, who hasn't been here for a while, so I'm glad that you're back. Gina in Arkansas, and Diane, who is struggling to squeeze in time for art. Well, I'm glad.
Hey, we have a first timer, Kirsten A.
Kirsten A. Yes, indeed. Hi. So here's JJ joining me.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
And so yes, it's nice to see you. And Susan suggests to Diane to keep a small sketchbook and a pencil with you and take 15 minutes. It works. It's true.
I mean, look at this cute little small thing.
That is cute.
I mean, A6. It's basically 4 by 6.
So that's
it's right in a pocket.
It's kind of like the same size. Yeah, exactly. The same size as your phone. That's how I did it for years with a tiny little moleskin. Carry that in my back pocket. And just you always have it.
You always have it.
So you say, well, I'm waiting for an elevator. Well, maybe not an elevator. I'm waiting for a train. I'm waiting for
a plane,
a doctor, a dentist.
Yeah, we do. Sadly, we spend more time in doctor waiting rooms and dentist waiting rooms than we used to.
It's true. But we're in perfect health with perfect teeth.
You know who I see Koja with these size books a lot. She works the coffee shop circuit, and she has well, you see, she does her flip throughs in these little books, and they are just charm overload.
It's
true.
So
you know, if you're having a little coffee, you're having a little meet up with a friend, or just having a coffee date with yourself, it's a perfect little companion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a good idea. Jeanette is on the penultimate page of her sketchbook.
Oh.
She started on January 3rd. So January 3rd, so that's
good. That's great.
6 months. That's a pretty good pace.
Yeah. Pretty good. Come on. That's awesome.
Well, 2 a year. That's okay. It's pretty good. I mean, as long as you're filling them up, I don't care how long you take. So yes, Susan says JJ is looking very pretty.
Aw, isn't that sweet?
She has nothing to say about my appearance, which I think goes without saying.
It's best not to
I think my hair
poke the bear over there.
Hey, it's Juan Funes from Honduras.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Honduras representing.
Very nice.
Very, very nice.
Well,
love
good.
seeing that.
Welcome. And so today let's just get through a little tiny bit of business because we have our friends from Hahnemühle. Speaking of Nostalgie sketchbooks, we are sponsored by Hahnemühle today, and we are going to feature the Nostalgie sketchbook. Now, I have to say, Nostalgie.
It's sort of your favorite, wouldn't you say?
I'm having a hard time saying it, but it is one of my favorites. It is a kind of a classic sketchbook for drawing in. It has beautiful paper. It's beautifully made, and I particularly love drawing on it with ink.
It's smooth.
It is smooth, and we are going to be giving away. Is it four?
Four
of them today.
Yeah, they are landscape books, 8 1/4 by 5.8, so 8 by 5, and they are 40 sheets.
Yeah, so
keep you busy for a while.
Yeah, so it is. It's not actually this one that is being shown here, which is 80 sheets, but it is, or maybe it does. It's 80 pages, 40 sheets, so that makes sense. It is this one. So yes, it is. It's really a great sketchbook.
Okay, James Coleman is asking, can you use ink and wet media on the Nostalgie?
You can. I have.
You have, and you do.
I have. It's not watercolor paper. It's not mixed media paper. So I'm not going to say that is its primary purpose. If you do a lot of wet media, it may not be ideal. But I have watercolored in it. I've inked in it. Certainly colored pencils. It's just, if you want like a quality sketchbook that's you're gonna work in for 6 months, for instance, I think it's beautifully bound too. It's just a solid book. I filled a lot of them, and I really love it. So I'm gonna be working in it today.
Colored pencils, markers. I mean, definitely, you use all of those things.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, an alcohol marker you might have some bleed issues, but that's true of almost every kind of sketchbook. Colored pencils, again, really, it's smooth. It doesn't have.
I mean, you did something not that long ago where you had a marker bleed through, and then you used that backside of the page to make a really cool page. So you know what? I think the end of the day, experimentation is the name of the game. These also have a very nice little cover.
Do I sound quiet? Elegant. Alex says I sound quiet. Okay. Yes. So Garrett says he wants to enter, but he has too many sketchbooks, and he won something last year. Sorry, that's a nice problem to have. But if you haven't won anything in a while, what you can do is you can write to us. Write to us at info@sketchbookschool.com. You have to have a U.S. mailing address, unfortunately, but we are sponsored by Hahnemühle USA. Or you can write to us at P.O. Box 45365. And just tell us, don't just say you want it, tell us why you want it. What about it seems appealing? And the people who like it best, make the best case for themselves, impresses JJ the most, will be getting one. So four of you. So write in and let's get one on. All right, let's talk about today's exercise. Today, what we're going to draw. We're going to focus. Today is, as you know, National Lobster Day.
I mean, a celebration like no other.
We love the lobster. We've had a live lobster too. We had one in this house, didn't we?
Oh, let's not talk about that.
It was like the scene. Do you remember the scene from Annie Hall? No. I'm going to tell the story. You know the scene from Annie Hall where Woody Allen is chasing, or afraid to chase the lobster as it's running around, and it was kind of like that sort of a scene.
I mean, we did it. I feel badly about it.
It was bad. I
know. I'm sorry. We have a lot of vegans, and I don't want to offend their ears. We see like the, amount of people watching just falls off a cliff. But yeah, we ate the lobsters.
No, we did. Honestly, we're going to be talking about eating. We're going to be talking about eating lobsters.
My sister procured them. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it maybe is a bit.
So let me tell you a bit about lobsters. Lobsters are. Did you know that lobsters can live to be up to 50 years old? I mean, I imagine that they're like the size of a Buick by the time they get to be 50. They are omnivores. So they eat everything.
Much like ourselves.
They also tend to munch on their own skin after they molt. So I guess that means the shell, like they discard the shell and then they eat it.
I mean, did we need this information today?
Yes. Prior to the mid-19th century, lobsters were usually eaten only by servants or those considered to be from within the lower echelons of society.
Didn't they feed them to prisoners?
It was even served up in prisons quite frequently, allegedly much to the complaints of the prisoners. And in some places, it was even considered to be the best used for fish bait or as fertilizer. How times have changed. Now, it is, of course, a luxury treat. You're a fan of the lobster roll.
I do. I like a lobster roll, although I feel it's a rare treat. Can't just go eating a lobster roll. It's something. And also, I mean,
go broke.
let's just talk about the things we miss about New York City. Eating a lobster roll in Phoenix just doesn't feel right. I think not advisable. But yeah, in New York City, there was a little place called Mary's Fish Camp. That was actually where we had our wedding reception.
It's true. We served lobsters.
We served lobster rolls and hot fudge sundaes. It was a very nice day.
So Chris brings up the Leon the lobster on YouTube, a supermarket lobster revitalized as a pet.
Oh, Leon.
That's interesting. So somebody went into a supermarket. I've thought of doing that in Chinese restaurants. I don't know if they do that anymore, but they would always have like a tank of really unhappy looking animals, and presumably you would pick one.
I hate that we're talking about this.
I know, but it's a fact of life, and it's National Lobster Day. That's why we have to do it.
Okay, well.
It's not National Lobster Day. I looked into it because I thought, is it to celebrate the magnificent animal and to preserve it? No, it's to talk about eating it. That's what it is.
It's like the lobster lobby.
Yeah, a lot of people are wondering about the idea of a lobster roll in Phoenix, that it's not the thing to do.
Yeah.
And Sandy says we should go to Maine. So, yeah.
I've never been to Maine.
But
always wanted to go to Maine.
All right, so if we're not going to eat lobsters, we can draw them.
Yes.
Right? So let's get into that. We're going to start drawing them. Let me just adjust this. There's a lobster.
They're a pretty cool thing to draw.
There's a lobster. Let me just bring this lobster back on.
Got
again.
a lot of
Here it
detail.
comes again. Here it is. Here's a lobster. And this is a Maine lobster. And I think what we might do, if we have time, is we might also draw his cousin, the spiny lobster.
Who's it's like
a totally different creature.
Throwback to the May the 4th episode. Looks like an alien.
Yes. You mean the spiny lobster?
The spiny lobster. Well, this guy looks like an alien too. I could see him at the Star Wars bar.
So yeah, so let's spend a little bit of time. Let's like do a nice drawing of this guy.
Your reference is sort of right over where you're. Yeah, there you go.
But I think that lobsters. We can be fanciful with it. We don't have to be super, super.
Well,
accurate.
I mean, okay. A lot of people ask, "Are you how many?" So 2 maximum.
2. We'll do 2 lobsters.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, just so you're not to break the tension, here's a spiny lobster. Okay. So that's what we're gonna end up with. Those 2 guys on the page. If you want to draw others, if you want to draw a vegan lobster, if you want to draw a crab, if you want to draw a barnacle, whatever crustacean you prefer. How's that poll coming, by the way?
Let me look. Let me see.
We have that poll if you haven't had a chance to fill
All
it
right,
out.
so what's your favorite crustacean?
Yeah.
It's a neck and neck lobster and crab. Barnacle, some curmudgeon has voted for barnacle. Danny.
Yeah. How am I doing?
I mean, you're pulling good numbers, 23%.
So tell us what the figures are.
All right. Crab is winning with a slight edge at 38%. Lobster very close behind 35%.
That's just wrong.
Danny,
it's National
a
Lobster
respectable showing, 23%. Barnacle 3%.
But it's National Lobster Day.
I'm going to end this poll.
And people are voting for
you. Oh my God. Crab just went up 39. All right.
People voting for
done.
crabs on National Lobster Day. That's just wrong, people. It's save that for Crab Day. But yeah, that's interesting. I wonder why that is. I guess crab, first of all, there's a lot more varieties of crab, right? So there's a lot more opportunities. So you might wonder what I'm doing. I'm starting the tail.
Yeah, why?
Why am I starting at the tail? I don't know, because it's there. I guess because, because
it's there.
Because I like to draw from the left-hand side. Pass the lobster from the left-hand side, as the song goes. Is that how the song goes? There's certainly these like body armor is really pretty cool. It's kind of almost sort of Star Wars level body armor that this guy has.
Yeah, like I said, he's space alien.
Yeah, body armor. I'm already feeling a little insecure about my proportions, but just think about it a little bit when you're drawing this part, that you are you're making the right decisions about the width of these plates, armor plates.
I mean, do you feel like maybe you could have measured it?
Yeah, I could have measured it, and I didn't. But now, let me see. So I'm measuring the height, the kind of the breadth of the lobster's torso, and it seems to be 1, 2, 3, 4 plates, basically 1, 2, 3, 4 plates. So this distance from here to here is about the distance from here to 4 plates. So I might be slightly off there. But what do you call a scientist who studies the crustacean? And are there any in the audience who might say, hold on a second, you got that completely wrong? Unlikely. We don't even know the word. Does anybody know the word yet? Does anybody come up with the word? I mean, what's it called? Ichthyologist is a fish specialist, right? A scientist who studies fish. So therefore, what is a crustacean? I almost said castrati, but that's something else.
Yeah, that's a raw, really bad path to go down.
It's raw. We're talking raw. It is. So, all right. So it's interesting. I hadn't really thought about how these guys are put together, but I guess this is all, this is articulated. So it's a nice, heavy kind of armor that will protect it. I'm not sure what it's made out of. Probably some kind of, what is the stuff that...
Collagen?
Collagen, the fingernails are made out of, exactly. So it's kind of like that.
Would you like for me to Google it?
Could you?
I can, and I will.
So, yeah. It looks like shrimp right now.
Okay, the exoskeleton of American lobster is composed of chitin, proteins, calcium, carotenoids, and traces of other minerals and organic compounds. Truly, no collagen.
Okay, carotenoids.
Chitin.
Chitin.
No, it's
This is a family show.
CHITIN, a biomaterial.
So this is nice. I like all these little spots that he has on him. And they're different sizes too. So I'm using 2 different pens. I'm using an 05, which I'd planned to just draw the outline with, but then I kind of kept going with it. And then I'm using a 0.2 to draw some of these little spots.
Chris Seidel very helpfully has corrected my pronunciation.
Of?
Chitin, not chitin. Look, I applied the Google and it did not treat me right. Chitin.
That's why we still need people like Chris Seidel around. He's not going to be replaced by Google yet.
Never.
So, all right, now I think I'm going to go really, really small. Actually, I have the smallest pen here anyway. The 0.2, the 0.1, the 0.1, and just put in a little bit more, just some more kind of just textural stuff. Give it some dimension. This isn't the greatest photo. I mean, if I had a real lobster here in front of me, a living lobster, because obviously this is not a living lobster. It's a photograph.
What do you think Twiggy would do with a living lobster?
Bark at it and run away. It's sort of like cockroaches, which she's very interested in.
Sadly,
we occasionally get cockroaches in our garden.
Fact of life here in Phoenix.
Yeah, this is tropical. It's not really tropical, but...
And they're about the size of lobsters, I'll tell you. Oof.
They are.
And they fly. Oof.
Yeah, that's really vile. Thank God lobsters don't. So, all right, let's move on to...
Oh, very interesting tidbit here. Factoid from Diane B. Mushrooms also have chitin. That is why you should always cook mushrooms, as the chitin is difficult to digest.
Interesting.
Yeah,
all right, so now I'm
eat
measuring...
raw mushrooms from time to time.
Now I'm measuring his entire length from this middle part to his eye, or the front of him, and I'm just measuring that, and I'm going to go back. So I'm measuring this length is the same as this length. So putting a little dot there. So that's kind of how long his whole upper part is. So if you continue this line along, it's long, right? That's longer than I would have thought it would be. But that is what it seems to be. It's an interesting shape. It's sort of kind of arcs up there. See, I'm being hesitant, which I don't like. But I've never drawn a lobster before.
Do you feel like you can repo this reference so it's fully on the white?
Well, if I do that, then it's going to be over my drawing.
Let me see.
How about if I move them down here? That's better, right? All right. Now, where was I now? Now you've totally thrown me off.
See, I just like to give you extra challenges.
Thank you.
Intrepid Fraidy Cat giving you a shout out. It's coming along nicely.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so yeah, so this is sort of a midline here. Yeah, I'm sorry that I did that jaggedy line. See, I don't like doing these hesitant sorts of lines, but
I mean, could you use a thicker pen and go over
this
it?
This is an 05. Let me pull out an 08.
What if you used a marker?
I'll use an 08. Don't want to go too far with this because it's nice to have some variety in your lines, but I don't want to kind of go too heavy-handed.
I mean, what if you just put like a Sharpie to that?
No.
Why not? Go big or go home.
The thing about Sharpies is
The stinky?
that's one of the things I often find, though, that they can tend to bleed a little bit. You're not going to get as nice and clean a line as you will with a proper fine liner.
Deb has nailed it. Brush pen.
Yes.
You have a brush pen just sitting right here.
I could use a brush pen, but I think I'm good with where I'm at because I kind of want to get into details here.
Show everyone how cool this brush pen is, though.
This is my cool brush pen. It is.
I was playing with it yesterday while we were having a meeting.
Wood grain.
Isn't that cute?
It is cute. It is a special edition brush pen. To use a lot of brush pens, you start to care about things like the special collector's edition.
I mean, it's cute.
It is cute.
You couldn't really see the grain when you showed it on camera, but it's cute.
Here, let me turn the light on so you can see it in all its glory. It's still too dark, but trust me, it's wood grain.
It's mahogany wood.
See, what I kind of would like to do, what if I have the wherewithal to do that? I'm going to try doing something risky, is I'm going to take some India ink.
Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
Show the peeps.
So I just have some India ink here. And I may regret this, but
I feel this is likely to be.
So I'm just dipping it in. And then
What?
This would be better with a toothbrush, honestly, but I don't have one handy.
Really? You don't have one in your art kit, in your tray?
Not right now, no. So yeah, that didn't work incredibly well, but you get the idea.
I think it looks cute.
So that is, it's a nice way to get kind of random dots and different size dots. So that's the thing, is when you use a fine liner, each dot is basically the size of the nib, as it should be. But when you use something more organic, you know. So let's just get on to, this is the 02. I'm going to go to my 05 again. And is it disturbing that my hand goes behind this lobster? It is. It's worse. It is worse. So I'm going to move him over here. How can I do this? I'm going to move him back to where it was.
Okay. T is here from Australia.
You know what? Can you hand me a sheet of paper from there over there?
You bet. Just like from the printer?
Yeah, just anything. Just put a piece of white paper over there.
Okay. gosh, we got somebody from Australia and somebody from Berlin in the same kind of beat. That is very cool. We have seen some very global representation today.
What time is it in Australia?
Somebody has insomnia, I'm afraid.
So I'm drawing these individual bits now, individual elements of the claw. And I think, again, I have to measure because this claw is just measuring how long he is. The length of this claw is the same as the length of this torso. So if I measure the torso, I measure the claw, it's going to stick off. It's actually going to go off the page.
And somebody from India just popped in. I love today. This is just like we've got truly
representation.
People from all around the world. That is brilliant.
That seem right? Yeah, I think that's about right. And then we've got this inside claw, which is slightly longer, actually, than the top one. And this thing has sort of little teeth things. We'll come back in and do a bit of texture there. And this is sort of coming down here and has some pointy bits.
Do you believe that you might use color later?
No.
You're not planning to?
Not if we're going to do the spiny guy.
Okay.
Because we've already spent about 20 minutes on this guy. I'm a bit nervous about it. It's surprisingly complex. I didn't think it was going to have this many elements to it, but so I'm going to draw these dots by hand instead of by splatter. But I think if I was going to do this again splatter-wise with a toothbrush, I might make a little bit of a vague stencil, so just to kind of mask.
Would you like for me to go get you a toothbrush?
No, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. You can really get into the texture here because the closer you look at this thing, the more you see that this shell is made up of a lot of texture. And, I think adding a little bit of just some variations in here just makes it more interesting, makes it feel more three-dimensional. Like this actually has some shading on it.
Yeah, it's like shaggy stuff.
Yeah. It's not just smooth, it is. And then this whole side of him, well, let me draw this.
Oh my goodness, we just got somebody from the Philippines here today. I cannot tell you how happy this makes me.
So the Philippines, that must be sort of like Australia's time zone.
She said her daughter, who refuses to sleep, she's here awake and saying hi from the Philippines.
Oh, good.
All right, Claire is asking for a recommendation for a sketchbook that works well with both watercolor and India ink. I mean, what about that 100% cotton?
Yes, the 100% cotton sketchbook that Hahnemühle makes is absolutely beautiful, beautiful sketchbook. And I use it for drawing on and painting on and using gouache colored pencils. And it's a beautiful, beautiful paper. And it's not heavily textured. Sometimes watercolor paper can be really heavily textured. I prefer watercolor paper that is just smooth. Hot press is nice, but even if it's not hot press, I like it. So, what were you going to say?
I was going to say you pretty much exclusively use hot press.
I do, but that 100% cotton is not hot press.
Right.
It is relatively smooth.
I mean, there are such things as mixed media sketchbooks.
Mixed media sketchbooks. There are. Hahnemühle makes some nice ones, including some out of things like bamboo and agave. So those are nice. Mixed media is, it's not quite watercolor paper. It's not quite that quality, but it is really useful for if you, that's the thing about a sketchbook is if you were just buying a pad of paper, you might buy it for a particular purpose. You were going to do a particular kind of work in a particular medium at that time. Sketchbooks, though, because we carry them around with us and we use them for, in some cases, 6 months, in some cases, other time periods, we may encounter or decide to use different kinds of media over the course of that time. So you kind of want to think about being prepared for all the things you might want to do, not just now, but also in the future. Alternatively, of course, you can have multiple sketchbooks.
Which you certainly do.
Yeah, I used to be a purist, and I used to say, you know what, once I start a sketchbook, I don't go to another one until I finished it. But as I have aged and mellowed, I am no longer so doctrinaire about these things. And I'm happier for it. But sometimes making rules helps you to stick to a habit. So you might find that that's something you need to do. I have a feeling I'm not going to get to the spiny guy. It's feeling that way. Because maybe.
I think you can do it.
Maybe I'll draw him small.
Interesting. I think you can do it.
All right, so let's not forget his legs. I heard there was some controversy over recently they made a lobster emoji and they put the wrong number of legs on him.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Look it up.
Bummer.
So they had to redo it. I think they only gave him 6 legs, maybe? Has the same number of legs as an insect.
Really seems like the kind of thing that
That the emoji council would be better.
that whoever created it would have Googled.
Maybe they were just trying to be efficient. They didn't think anybody would notice.
Efficient?
Emojis.
It's not a fish.
Emojis are pretty small, so they might have just said, you know what, if I fit in. But then, of course, they had to go back because the powerful lobster lobby came in and said, what have you done?
People are definitely voting for the spiny guy.
They want it, huh?
They are insisting upon it, in fact. People were looking forward to it. When you tell people to make a composition that allows for 2,
yeah, no,
you've
got a good point.
Treat them right if you give them 1.
I know, I agree. It was a risk I took, kind of like eliminating the legs on the emoji. But there's still, I'm trying to really draw these legs in proportion. And so it's just taking a bit of time.
I have to say, I think this is looking really good, Danny.
Thank you. What's also interesting is drawing this, and I don't usually feel this way about animals, but it's hard not to think about eating it.
Danny.
Don't you think? Like
Stop.
As I'm drawing these, I'm thinking like, boy, I would suck the juice out of the marrow out of that guy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not like that with most. Like if I draw a cat, I really go there, but.
Speaking of, Twiggy was snoring so loudly. Now she's woken up. Oh, Twigs.
All right. Where's the other leg now? I want to put it in the right place so it's right. Is it opposite? It's kind of a bit behind this leg. So it kind of goes there. And it has these little mini pincers on it. I didn't know that. It's like a little mini crab claw.
That's what happens when you slow down.
You see stuff.
Yeah. When you're eating it, you're going too fast to even notice a little.
Just ripping at it. Because I wonder, should I draw a thing of butter sauce?
Chris Seidel just said, can we have a little cup of butter and a lemon wedge?
Yeah. You'll have to talk to your waiter about that. But I will say I should have worn a bib when I was drawing this.
What do you feel like you want to have for your Father's Day sup? I'll make you anything you want.
maybe cat.
Danny. It's not even a funny joke. Hot dogs, hamburgers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've been, here we are in the middle of the summer, and we haven't, well, it's not in the middle of the summer. When is the first day of summer?
Oh my goodness, Sang Sob is here. We haven't seen him in so long.
Wow, we have a lot of representation
this is just the absolute best
Sang Sob from Korea.
Thursday from Korea, South Korea. Yes, amazing. Oh, and Paula says she thought she heard Twiggy snoring. You know, you did.
She thought so. If you hear me snoring, then it may be time to change channels. All right, so there we go. Whew, that was exhausting.
Honestly, superb. You know, there are some little bits coming out of the mouth that I feel you might have skipped.
Oh, you're right. I didn't get all these kind of like little...
I think they add a little festiveness.
Yeah.
That's right. So we will have the solstice before we meet again, right? What day is next Thursday?
It is, yes, next Wednesday.
No, so the solstice is Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We're into it.
It will be summer.
So when we see you again, the days will be...
Not in Australia, though. It'll be winter then.
True. I forget our global audience. We have people experiencing different seasons.
All right, guys. I think we're done with this damn lobster. I'm sick of it. Get it out of here. Let's look at a spiny guy. Do we have time? We have, yeah.
Oh my gosh, we must do it. It must happen.
All right.
The people demand it.
That other one just plunged out of here. All right.
Yeah, that was Twiggy really making a lot of vocalization.
Okay, so I think I'm going to move this guy over here, though.
Yeah, I think it greatly improves the experience if
this room, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I might even put a piece of paper on him.
Great idea.
So, just so you...
I mean, now that you've done one lobster, do you feel you can do the second one faster? We'll find out.
It depends on the size, honestly, because it's not terribly difficult to draw, I find. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it, but it is a, it's just, there's a lot of details in it. So, but maybe I'll draw him with different pen. Try 7. Some schmutz on the page there. All right. I'll use a slightly different strategy to draw him. And I'm probably going to draw him a bit smaller. Sorry, let me just adjust this.
Just realized I was really crunching my ice.
Yeah, that's really unpleasant.
Sorry, I'll stop after I swallow this. Did you have any of your iced coffee?
I've had a little bit of it.
It's rare that we pimp for a product of someone that doesn't pay us. I mean, I guess except for C's. But
that's not pimping.
Trader Joe's has come out with bags that you brew your own iced coffee.
Cold brew coffee.
Cold brew coffee, right? Make it home. So like tea bags, but they're coffee bags. And
it's the best.
We're pretty psyched about them over here.
So 1, 2, 3, and then this is quite a nicely ornamented animal. I guess this is a live one. That's why it's different.
No,
1,
I don't think it
2,
would be. I don't think it would be orange if it was alive.
2, 3, 4. Really? You don't think it's kind
I
of
think
brown?
they're blue if they're.
Oh, you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it comes down here. I started by saying, you can be fanciful and you can take liberties with it, and I've been slavish in trying to draw these guys exactly what they look like. But I think it's because they have so much detail that, and I'm so unfamiliar with it that I don't feel comfortable taking a lot of liberties. Run out of page. But I mean, look at how beautiful these lines are. These stripes, red and white. Really nice.
Nature is lit.
It is.
As I say on Reddit.
Yeah, this is a nice looking thing. It doesn't have the big claws though. It doesn't have those giant front claws.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good observation.
I wonder if that makes it less tasty.
Maybe that's why you don't see them on the menu.
Maybe this is nature's adaptation to say, you know what, we made those lobsters just too tasty. We better, if we want these guys to survive, we should make some less tasty ones.
I mean, it probably has something to do with mobility. I mean, those big claws don't really seem like good legs.
But I think they're defense. They're defense.
Yeah, running is defense too. Swimming.
Getting the hell out.
Claire is asking for a sketchbook tour. You know, you put those on YouTube in...
I haven't done them in a while.
No, well, maybe let's... Claire, it could be your lucky day. We'll put one up.
We, you know, I've been doing on my essays. I've been doing a sketchbook tour, where I've been going through each of my individual sketchbooks, starting from the very beginning. And I've been writing each week. I send out a description and the whole story behind each individual sketchbook, like all the places I went, the things that I learned from doing it, all that kind of thing. And I've been doing that now for a couple months. So if you are particularly interested in that, you make sure you subscribe to Danny's Essays. And I do a special one called Studio Notebook on Tuesdays, and that's where I've been doing these tours. Now, wow, look at this, whatever it is, this antenna. This thing is going to be really huge. It's so big that it goes behind the lobster like that. Wow. All right, that was cool.
Cool. Very cool. Nice confident line you made there. No scritchy scratch on that one.
No, that's true. But I'm having bad feelings about this head.
Why? Because you're running out of time? You have 15 minutes.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I've been as careful with it. This is much more insect-like, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, because of all the legs?
Just all the bits. I mean, it could just be a giant insect.
Remember last year when we did moths and someone in the chat was like
writing their PhD,
doing a thesis on it at that exact moment?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was very cool.
I was hoping that would happen today. We'd have some
I don't know.
lobster
Chris
expert.
Seidel was quick to chime in with that kite lens, and he must know something about this.
Yeah, see, I didn't get this part right. I think I just generally screwed up the feet, the legs, this whole part here. If I look at this negative space in here, I can see how wrong that is.
Look, you're going your own way In nature, there's probably a spiny lobster that does in fact look the way yours does.
It's just a different one. It's a guy named Phil. And I'm using Larry as my model. All right, so he's run out of space there on the page. And now let's get into some details, some
Are you going to do the indie ink again?
what is it that they call...
Your drawing is a little off camera, you know.
Yeah, what is it that they call it in racing cars, the painting? What do they call it?
The painting?
Remember the paint, there's a word for the sort of the paint on a professional racing car.
Oh.
Yeah. The dressage, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
Yeah, you do. I want to make this guy smaller.
Livery.
Livery, there you go. Livery.
Thank you.
Oh, somebody else came up with that?
Yeah, Vagrant Neko.
Oh, Vagrant Neko, of course.
Vagrant Neko.
All right. So,
Someone's asking, what program are you using to live stream that allows you to have the reference up?
my friend, that's
Multiple cameras.
Subject for another live stream. It's a very complex system that I have here.
Yeah.
There's a crew of almost 28 people behind the scenes.
It's a crew of one pug.
Making all this possible. So we act like it's just us in a room in Phoenix, but it's not.
No,
it's
it is.
an entire crew.
It's just us and a pug.
This pug is...
But our tech has not been our friend lately, as some of you know.
Easy.
I know. Let's not poke the bear.
We've actually replaced almost all of our equipment in the last month because
there was one day, in fact, one Thursday.
Yeah,
when
many of you were there.
kaput.
You remember how everything fizzled and went off thing behind the scenes. I mean, we had almost 5 of our technicians quit that day, and they almost called a strike.
It was clearly.
It was a very scary day here.
What is it when the
Draw With Me headquarters?
When the oh my gosh, my word's not coming.
Shit hit the fan. Yes.
But it's when. Not the transit of Venus. Oh my gosh.
Are you talking about Mercury being in retrograde?
Thank you.
Mercury was not in retrograde. We looked it up.
Yeah, but we were convinced that it was. I think it was a full moon.
Yeah,
it was when we had that beautiful strawberry moon. Remember that?
I just don't think that the moon affects mixing boards usually. All right, so there we've got both of them.
I think you should do the India ink again.
Well, I'm going to do something else with India ink in a minute.
Oh, you're going to do a little...
Do a little bit of labeling, a little bit of writing, if you'll allow me, if you'll permit me. Let me just cap these guys before they dry up. So yes, I splattered a little bit of ink. Now I'm going to take some acrylic ink and my dip pen.
You want to show the ink?
Not particularly. So this is a Maine lobster. Is that what it's called? That is the...
I believe so, yeah.
So I think I'll write it here. So yeah, so it's important to label your lobsters.
Do you want to get rid of the spiny?
Should I get rid of this guy? Yeah. Whoops, not that guy. That was a mistake. Let me bring it back. Here we go. Let's get rid of this guy instead. Maine lobster. But presumably, these lobsters are available in other places besides the United States. So maybe they're not all. Maybe it's not really a Maine lobster.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I think the lobsters live in a lot of.
Right. So why would they be called Maine lobsters?
This particular one was caught and harvested in Maine.
Oh, you think that's the reason? It's not the species?
Yeah, I don't think it's a species. You want me to Google?
Of course. That's why you're here.
It's an American lobster.
Well, this one's a Maine lobster, unfortunately. So it is an American thing then. Because I know that this, the other kind, the spiny, is also called the Caribbean.
Okay, here's a factoid. Atlantic lobsters, Homarus americanus, of the 30-odd types of clawed lobsters worldwide,
30? Oh, wow.
Atlantic lobsters related to both have asymmetrical claws formed from the first of the 5 pairs of legs, with the larger one used for crushing and the smaller one for cutting or seizing prey. The other major type of lobsters, the spiny lobsters, do not have asymmetrical claws, as we noticed. The Atlantic lobster's other 4 pairs of legs are used to crawl rather than swim. Underneath the abdomen, which we didn't see for this particular exercise, are 6 pairs of swimmerets.
Swimmerets?
Also called pleopods.
Swimmerets.
The first pair of swimmerets closest to the head are hard and bone-like in the male, but soft and feather-like in the female.
Sounds like a girls' group from the 50s.
The last of the pairs is enlarged and forms what we usually think of as the tail.
Swimmerets. So we have a little bit of time. We could label some bits. That would be fun.
OMG, I just
What?
read something that is sort of disturbing. Okay, scientists estimate that Atlantic lobsters may live as long as 100 years,
I had read 50.
but no one has yet figured out a way to accurately tell a lobster's age.
So it's just folklore. All right, so that's a spiny lobster. And now, so we could label some bits. What are the, so can you tell me the names of some of the parts? There's the legs, there's the claws.
Good swimmerets, you obviously have to label.
Can't even see though.
But with an arrow.
I'm going to call this American.
Okay, I'm going to get you. So there's the abdomen, which is the section commonly referred to as the tail. There are the antennae, A-N-T-E-N-N-A-E.
A-N-T-E.
A-N-T-E-N-N-A-E.
Right. What else? There's the
pincher claw and the crusher claw.
Okay, so this must be the pincher claw, the small one. What else? There's the legs.
The legs are called walking legs.
Okay.
So the whole body is called the carapace.
Yeah, that makes sense.
C-A-R-A-P-A-C-E.
So not the tail, but the upper body.
Basically, the body shell from eyes to start of tail
that's
is the carapace.
Carapace. And that's C-A-R-A-P.
C-A-R-A, carapace, P-A-C-E.
And then there's the tail.
And then there's the eye, which you didn't really...
The
You
eye.
kind of
I got the eye in there.
So label the eye.
And then there's the mouth.
A mandible.
Oh, that's the mandible?
Rather,
Oh,
yes.
good mandible.
A mandible. There are some other fiddly bits that seem like they might be hard for me to pronounce.
Okay, like where?
Oh my goodness. All right. So
This, I don't actually need them. I think I've got, from a compositional point of view,
yeah,
kind of got good coverage, I think.
I agree.
So let's have a look at the whole page. So there's room here for the other 30 species of lobster down this corner. That's why I left room here. So I'm going to draw. Later on, I'll draw the other 30 species, fit them all into this piece part here. And yeah, pretty nice.
I mean, gorge.
I think it's not a bad page. Yeah.
Beautiful page.
So, whew. I feel like I've been holding my breath.
Have a sip of your coffee. Trader Joe's.
Here we go.
Cold brew coffee bags.
You think that they'll hear about us and they'll say, you know what? We want to send you a bunch of those bags.
Oh my gosh, that would be great because they are kind of spendy. They're like $7.99, but it makes a couple of gallons of cold brew.
Yeah. Whew. I feel like I have been holding my breath.
It's a solid hour of
Lobsters.
of intensity.
I mean, it would take me a lot less time to eat one or both of these guys.
True.
Have we ever eaten a spiny lobster that you know?
No, not that I'm aware of.
I think you'd think that something was wrong with it. If you got that, you would be like, well, where's the claws?
No,
Where's the pincher
I
and
feel
the
like we might have had
crusher?
spiny lobster when we were in Amsterdam with Koja.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a European thing.
Yeah, and they had delicious crab that had come right out of the...
Diane wants to know which paper did I work on. Diane,
Oh
please.
my goodness, Diane.
This is all about today's sponsor, which is HahnemuhleNostalgie.
Nostalgie.
So yeah, so you can see, as you can see, the Nostalgie worked really nicely. It is, you see that on the other, here, let me show you the other side of the page.
It's really, I mean...
There's some light coming through, but if I...
On some level,
ink is wet,
it's
so I don't want to put
it's
it
your
down.
favorite.
Yeah, I mean,
Sketchbook.
there's no bleed through. It was nice. And it took this, sometimes when you get wet ink like this, it can wreak havoc on your page.
Buttercrafts is asking about your red ink.
My red ink is
Winsor Newton?
it's not actually, it's a Cali. It is it's just a burgundy.
Where did you even get it from?
You know,
I don't remember you buying that.
it's one of my secret purchases. Don't tell my wife, but I bought some acrylic burgundy ink. Whew. All right, good. What weight is it?
I just put it in the, so 190 GSM.
Yeah, 190 grams, which is like, it's like 100 pounds, isn't it? Something like that. It's good paper.
Yeah, you know what? I have a freshie right here. 190 GSM is 90 LBS.
But the one we're giving away is not that size.
No. The one we're giving away are bigger and they're landscape. And there are 4 of them. So if you haven't won
I think
anything...
they're this size. Pretty sure it's this size.
You're like lousy with nostalgies over
This
here.
is actually not a Nostalgie. It's just the size.
Oh, I see.
It's just the size. This is actually a toned. This is a Nostalgie toned paper.
Oh, it's gray?
Yeah.
Nice.
We haven't used the gray in a long time. We use but it's nice. It's toned watercolor paper, which is really nice.
Hey, Haley
Haley.
Stone. That is very cool. First time in years. You're back.
So Haley Stone's lobsters. That would be a rock lobster. All right, good. Well, do I use watercolor on that weight successfully? Yeah, I think Deborah must have come late. Yes, I sort of use it. It's okay. It's okay. It's not watercolor paper.
Hit or miss.
Yeah. Naja says these lobsters are quite the cuisine, yet ravishingly radical to eat. I like that, ravishingly radical.
Would everyone like to see the snorer?
Speaking of lobsters, here she is. All right, let's move on to the end. So thank you for joining us today. We urge you to share your lobsters. Lobsters are meant for sharing. Post them on Instagram or on Facebook and tag them, hashtag SBS Draw With Me. And then we'll track them down, hunt them down, drag them back here to Draw With Me headquarters, and our team will cobble together a cavalcade of lobsters of raid, and we will share them at the beginning of next week's episode. If you would like to be considered for the HahnemuhleNostalgie sketchbooks that we'll be giving away, we'll be giving away a bunch of them, and you can get one if you write to us at info@sketchbookschool.com. You'll be considered to get one. We can't give them to everybody.
We have 4.
We have 4. But and you have to have a U.S. mailing address. And don't forget your mailing address. If you write to us and you don't have a mailing address, we can't mail it to you. We can't email you a sketchbook. So remember your thing. And if you would like to get my essays, go to dannysessays.com and sign up for them. Yeah.
And if you're in our Spark program, come hang out with us on Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday I'm doing a workshop. Hopefully you're a Spark member and you will come and join us. We're going to be spending 3 hours hanging out in the studio here and doing some cool stuff. We have a lot of fun things planned, and it will be really great. I hope you can make it. All right.
See you next Thursday.
Yes, thank you, Arlene.
On the flip side of the solstice.
Susan's going back to her dissertation. Good. I'm glad it was a nice break. We'll see you again next Thursday. Have a great day.